Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I wanted to make a shorter form video of this particular fight because I did a live about it when it was reported, but I never got a chance to do a shorter video about it. So this is what that is. So there's been a lot of, running his mouth. There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of posturing and hooting and hollering from one Jermall Charlo about, what he feels he deserves. Mike Tyson kind of made him look bad on his podcast when he was telling Jermall Charlo, you need to call out the Mexican monster. He was egging him on to call Dave Benavidez. He didn't want to do it. He kind of got exposed on the Mike Tyson podcast if we're keeping it all the way 100. There were talks about him fighting Munguia. The talks broke down. And he turns around and he's fighting Sulecki. The same Sulecki that fought Jacobs all those years ago. The same Sulecki that fought Demetrius Andrade all those years ago. So essentially, what Jermall Charlo was doing is he's ducking Demetrius Andrade, right? We know that. I mean, that like many of these guys at 160, 168, because Canelo's 175 as well. We'll count Canelo in there. We know a lot of these guys don't want no smoke with Demetrius Andrade, right? But he's probably at the top of the list because this is the guy that really should have been fighting him more than anybody. Eddie Hearn had went ahead and made the petition with the WBC to make the fight. And the WBO came with the crazy mandatory with Johnny Beck. So it was all crazy and whatnot, what happened at 160. But he's turning around and now he's fighting Sulecki, who I take nothing away from Sulecki. I'm not one to disrespect fighters. Sulecki is a good fighter. Sulecki is a credible top 10 opponent. He gave Jacobs a really good fight like 4 years ago. He gave Andrade, he went the distance with Andrade when Andrade dropped him in the first round. So he can fight. We don't take that from Sulecki. But if you're Jermall the Hitman Charlo, as they call him, Jermall Charlo, you need those fights that are really going to get people excited about you. And let's just call a spade a spade. He's wasting his time, twiddling his thumbs, really just running in place, regressing. He's been fighting these guys like Brandon Adams and Montiel. And what I think is happening to Charlo, because I've been watching more so his performances, not the opponent, not the result, the performance. Because in my opinion, irrespective of who the fighter is fighting, I think what matters the most is the performance. How does a fighter look on a performance-by-performance basis? And when we look at Charlo, the opponents have been great. They've been very run-of-the-mill. But so have the performances, which is, to me, the real red flag. Because if you're fighting a guy like Montiel, if you're fighting a guy like Brandon Adams, if you're fighting this caliber of opposition and you're looked at to be on that upper echelon, then you need to have the performances that justify us having that perception of you. And he hasn't had that. And when the crazy thing is, Sulecki, although he has lost to Jacobs and although he has lost to Andrade, and I could sit here and say, he's a leftover and whatnot. The crazy thing is, Sulecki is actually a step up in class from Montiel and from Brandon Adams and guys like that. So, I think, listen, Charlo should go in there, he should win. But I'm not even sure that'll happen. I'm not even sure he'll look good again. Can Charlo afford another suspect performance, an average performance, a run-of-the-mill performance? I don't think so. I think we need that Charlo that fought Hugo Centeno Jr. in his middleweight debut. I think we need that Charlo that fought Julian Williams, because that was the Jermall Charlo that I thought, I was buying stock in, that I was really excited about, that I was saying, maybe that's a guy that could beat a Golovkin or a Canelo or an Andrade or someone like that. But as the years have gone by and as he's become more stale, and as he's been avoiding the Andrade fight, twiddling his thumbs more and more, I've lost hope for Jermall Charlo. Truthfully, I've lost hope for him. Yeah, he beat Derevyanchenko. He gets credit for that win. That was probably the best performance he's had in recent memory within the last 2 to 3 years. But I mean, if you were to add up his last 3 to 4 performances on average, Adams, Montiel, that fight, Dennis Hogan, I mean, he's an above average, solid fighter who happens to have a belt. That's how I look at him. I don't look at him like the way I look at Golovkin or Andrade or them kind of guys, because for the most part, those guys are having really good performances. On a performance by performance basis, these guys are winning and winning rather easily. And people can say what they want about Andrade, but he knocked out quickly in 2 rounds. When was the last time Charlo knocked out someone in 2 rounds in the middleweight division? I'm pretty sure you'd have to go back to like the Hugo Centeno fight. So that's what I'm saying, man. So I'm intrigued with a Selecki fight only because it'll be a good measuring stick of how he stacks up to like an Andrade or even a Jacobs, because that's a fight that can still happen at some point. But yeah, he's wasting his time. Jermall Charlo's career, although I'm going to keep talking about it because he has a belt, but truthfully, it has become one of the biggest wastes of time in boxing, because he's got all that talent, he's got all that ability, he's got all that, all the frame, got the frame, the jab, got a solid right hand. He's got a lot of things going well for him in the fighting department as far as attributes, but he's not performing at that level when he does fight lower level opposition, and he's fighting lower level opposition. So it is what it is. But you guys can I think the date was June 19th. Say the date, June 19th. Jermall Charlo will once again be fighting someone that nobody asked him to fight in Selecki, and hopefully for his sake he can get one of these big fights over the line at some point, because his career is growing extra stale, and he's not progressing as a fighter, which means that he's regressing as a fighter, which is the exact opposite of his brother, Jermall Charlo, right? Jermall Charlo has actually progressed. When Jermall fought John Jackson all those years ago, and John Jackson was not known for being a technical boxer, was outboxing him, and he came back later on and got a stoppage. At that time, I didn't really think Jermall Charlo was going to go on to do all these things he's done, knocking out guys like Rosario, Tony Harrison, and really establishing himself as one of the best, if not the best, 154-pounder in the world. We'll see what happens with Castano, but he's one of the top guys in that weight class, and if you want to obtain any success in the division, you got to go through him. So, it's crazy how life works, how things can change in a couple of years. But yeah, Jermall Charlo needs to make a statement in this fight, and then after that, PBC and all parties involved got to step him up to a big name the next fight, because it's becoming a waste of time. So you guys leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.